How are you guys doing? Today is Monday, January 11th, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, with today being his 25th birthday, I'm going to do an individual profile on Leroy Sané, who is a young elite attacker for who just recently signed with Bayern Munich, just coming off of a recent ACL tear. But in the very short career that he's built his way up to being a very respected German international player, and now he's playing on arguably one of the best teams in the world, getting a good amount of playing time and actually providing a good amount of scoring plays, whether it be from goals and assists. And he's kind of been doing so ever since he really stepped foot in the league. So, if you're unfamiliar with Leroy Sané, he currently stands at about 6 feet tall. He's originally from Essen, Germany, and just through his youth career, he worked his way up through and graduated through the Schalke youth organization, and then he eventually got called up in 2014 for the squad. He only played one Bundesliga game in his very first season, but he was doing so at 18 years old as a very, very young player on this very, very good team, because it's a Schalke. They do play a lot of games in the Bundesliga. But of course, leading into his 2014-15 season and into his age 18 season, where he came in 18 years old, he would play 13 matches and finish with 13 goals, and he would help Schalke finish with the sixth best record in the Bundesliga. They would make it to the round of 16 in Champions League, and they'd eventually get knocked out in the first round of DFB Pokal. This is when Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting was their leading scorer, but Leroy Sané at 18 years old was actually doing what he needed to do and able to kind of just, in order to hold it down. He had 9 total goals over that entire season, including 2 of which in the U19 Bundesliga, but he eventually moved up and was a full-time starter, actually pitching in and scoring goals as a teenager on that team. So and then also he was the German under-19 Bundesliga champion, because he was playing with the U19 team that eventually won, so I guess he still got credit for that. And in 2014-15, he competed in Champions League for the first time. And then going to 2015-16 in Leroy Sané's age 19 season, he would play all 33 games for Schalke for the first time in his career. The most games he's ever played with a team to date was when it was in his age 19 season. He'd finish with 8 goals and 6 assists for a Schalke side that would finish 5th in the Bundesliga. They would finish in the second round of the Europa League, but Leroy Sané, as a teenager, was doing his own. He was kind of doing his own thing to help out in any way he he could, and that was the first time he'd ever score 8 goals. He'd ever put 6 assists up in a league season. He only scored and assisted in the Champions League that season in 2015-2016. And he was eventually called up to play for Germany for one game in the Euro Championship, because that was the first time he was actually called to the German German national team. So this transitions to his 2016-17 when he actually made his jump to the Premier League. In Leroy Sané's age 20 season, he would play 26 games for Manchester City, in a season where they would finish 3rd in the Premier League, and they'd lose in the round of 16 in Champions League after Sergio Aguero put up his best scoring season in his career for Man City, but still nonetheless. Leroy Sané was able to pitch in 5 goals and 2 assists in this 26-game season. And additionally, he was able to add 2 goals and 2 assists in Champions League and an additional 2 goals in FA Cup to give him 9 goals on the entire season, while helping a very strong Manchester City side show how strong they were, especially on the side. But of course, this Man City team was getting a little bit better. In 2017-2018, in his age 21 season for Man City, Leroy Sané would play 32 matches in a season where Man City would win this would be the first season that Man City would win the Premier League with him being there. This would be the 3rd time they'd won it in the 2010s, but the first time since Sané's been on the team. And they would also go on to win the EFL Cup final, with Sergio Aguero being their leading scorer, as they were eventually knocked out in Champions League, while they also had Kevin De Bruyne doing what he could in that sense. That season, Leroy Sane would top 10 goals in a Premier League season for the very first time in his career. He also added 15 assists, and for the entire, and then if you include the domestic cups and international cups, he would finish with 14 goals and 19 assists on a season. That would be the most assists he put together in an entire season, and it would be tied with 22. Or it would be tied with 2018-19 for the most scoring plays he'd have in a season. Also, this season, he'd finish with 3 goals in the League Cup to help them win that. He finished with 2 assists in Champions League finals. And this was a 21-year-old young player doing what he could. And then by 2018, by the time that he was 22 years old, he was already a Premier League winner, and he was a prime contributor. He was one of their best players, helping them do so while doing it. And jumping into his age 22 season for Manchester City, Leroy Sané would play 31 matches, the second most matches he'd play in the Premier League, more than his age 20 season. He would finish with 10 goals and 10 assists in the season. And then when you add in what he did in Champions League along with the domestic cups, he finished with 16 goals and 17 assists, the most goals he'd have in an actual season. And then it will be tied with 2017-2018 for the most combined goals and assists, just scoring plays that he would contribute to in that season. He would finish with 4 goals and 4 assists in Champions League, with 2 goals and an assist in the FA Cup. Also adding a goal in UEFA Nations League, finishing with almost a full scoring play per 90 minutes with the production that he was putting up in his in the start. And also in 2018-19, Manchester City would double up as they would win the Premier League for the second year in a row. They went on to win the FA Cup final, and they won the EFL Cup final. They won that treble. They also won the Community Shield. So they won everything that they needed to win in England, but they lost in the quarterfinals of Champions League as they were seeking to win every possible trophy that they could have won. That's how dominant they were in 2018-19, and that was Leroy Sané's final full season in Manchester City. Transitioning to his age 23 season in Manchester City, Leroy Sané would play 1 game before he ended up tearing his AC, or he tore something in his knee. If I'm looking at it, I'm pretty sure he tore an ACL, which would rule him out of the competition for the majority of the season before he had a chance to transfer to Bayern Munich. So, of course, over this entire last season of 2019-20, that would end after the quarantine, Leroy Sané has been out for that entire season, dealing with injury stuff. And in his first appearance back, he would play for Bayern Munich, the best team in all of Germany. This would be after they won the Champions League. He was there to win the Super Cup in 2020. So, of course, that was a big win for Bayern Munich and a big win for him, as he was actually one of the players on the field to help Bayern Munich win that game. And as of right now, Leroy Sané, in the 13 Bundesliga games this season, he's put up 4 goals and 4 assists this season. And he's also scored 2 goals in Champions League to lead him kind of where he is right now. He's coming off of an ACL injury, and he's putting up a season that's very similar to past seasons that he's put up. I would say he's even on his way to eclipsing the numbers that he's put up in previous seasons. And now that he's turning 25, I personally believe that his career is just getting started. He already has 2 Premier League titles in his trophy case, along with 2 EFL Cup winners and an English FA Cup title in his trophy case. But now he's just turning 25. I believe he's entering his prime, and he's coming off of his first major injury. And he's fine. And he's also competing with Kingsley Coman and Serge Gnabry, along with 17-year-old Jamal Musiala, for a spot in arguably one of the most competitive starting 11s in the world in Bayern Munich, his home country. So with that said, I think going into 2021, Leroy Sané he's definitely a player to keep your eye on. I personally am going to regard him as elite, considering he's one of the best players, one of the most important players on one of the best sides in all of football. And then just going forward, he has such an amazing game to him. He's incredibly fast. He's incredibly shifty. He knows how to use the ball. He can make almost every pass. He can make incredibly long shots and never count him out when it comes to scoring goals, because he very well could. He's now taken over the number 10 for Bayern, and I think he's going to, and as far as I know, he's under contracted Bayern for another 4.5 seasons. So I can't wait to see how this dude's career is going to take off, especially alongside German international players his age, such as Serge Gnabry, Leon Goretzka, Joshua Kimmich, and not to mention the greats such as Robert Lewandowski, Manuel Neuer, David Alaba for now, Alphonso Davies. I just can't wait to see. And don't forget Kingsley Coman, who scored the game-winning goal for the Champions League. And with that said, I want to thank you all once again for listening to all 11 minutes of this piece. Today is Monday, January 11, 2021. Happy 25th birthday to Leroy Sane. And hopefully, as I make more and more of these profiles throughout the years, there'll be more and more to say on Leroy Sane. But as of right now, I do believe Leroy Sane is an elite. He is an elite forward in the game. He's coming off of a major injury season, and I think he's going to come back stronger than ever. Thanks once again for listening to my piece. I'll catch you with a Jamie Vardy piece after this, and peace out. I'll catch you after this.